back with another iconic multifamily podcast episode. We have a return guest, Brian Wagers with Wagers Capital. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too. Always.
He's a client of mine, but also he's a friend, and he is one of the, I know a lot of people get educated on the business and they have all intentions of doing the things they learn in books, learning their courses, and then while also standing on principles and morals, because it's hard sometimes in business to, do what you're gonna say you're gonna do, because sometimes it doesn't make you money. And sometimes you may have a different opportunity, but this guy always does what he says he's gonna do. So I'm happy to have him on the podcast. And not to mention, he's a super producer in the multifamily space. How many units are you up to now?
So we've been involved in about over 1,000 units, like 1,016, I think is the exact number right now. So just, right at 1,000, right over $100 million in real estate transactions.
That's awesome. So when I first met you, you just did the Springdale stuff. I don't think you had been out of Northwest Arkansas yet. Now you've been in Fort Smith. You've gone full cycle, some deals here. You've went full cycle in your stuff in Springdale, Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah.
Now you're in Mesquite, Texas, Columbia, South Carolina, Dallas, Fort Worth, of course. Like, you're all over the place. Yeah.
Houston, don't forget about Houston.
Yeah, Mesquite. I mean, you're everywhere. So tell people what 2022 has been like so far for Wagers Capital. Kind of give them an update of where you guys are today.
Yeah, so we're really focused on the syndication model. I love multifamily. So obviously, Josh, you know that. For me, it was, at some point, I knew I had to go outside of Arkansas. You asked me, I guess it was a year ago or a year and a half ago or something like that. You said, what's next? So that's a simple question, but it's a powerful question, what's next? So for me, I knew that I wanted to get into, continue to be in multifamily. I love Northwest Arkansas. I love Arkansas, Fort Smith, but there's only so much inventory. And I knew that if I wanted to stay in the multifamily space, I had to start venturing outside of Arkansas. So for me, that was partnering up with people on boots on the ground that were doing the same thing that I'm doing on the larger scale and different bigger markets where we can continue to scale and continue to serve my investors by placing their capital into more multifamily. So, what you've talked about it a little bit just now, but we're under contract on a 190 unit in Mesquite, Texas. You saw that deal. That's going to be a really good one. Mesquite, just outside of Dallas. Before that, I did my first deal that wasn't in Arkansas or Texas, in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah.
That was a 226 unit. Before that, we closed on the Graham in Houston. That was a 446 unit deal. So that one was the biggest deal I ever did. A couple months earlier, my whole portfolio was, 446 units.
For a long time. You were kind of in that 400 unit range. You were like, I want to grow, but you were also saying that you didn't really want to compromise your business by just trying to grow. Because we see it all the time. People trying to do, massive growth, 10X, all that stuff, and you just grow the wrong way. And that's the easy way to, especially when you're raising money, that's the easy way to get reported to the SEC, but also just have a bad reputation with investors.
And I think it's what too. Some people they'll go multifamily and then they may go to another area of commercial, or they'll go single family and they'll switch to a different. Maybe they'll do fix and flips versus buy and holds because they just want to do something else. But for me, multifamily is my one thing. So for me. I wanted to stay true to that and stay true to my investors. It's what I know, I understand, I'm educated on. So. That was the focus for me. Yeah.
Is that a Gary Keller book, One Thing?
Yeah, Gary Keller, One Thing, yeah.
I think I have that upstairs in my library. I read it one time and, I was at Keller Williams, but, I think any area in life, books like that just kind of really put you in a space where you understand that it's a lot more simple to get to where you want to go than you may think. It's like really just be disciplined with one thing. And I think you really executed on that, so. Congrats, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think the books are good, continuing to stay educated, but we talked about it right before we started filming, but taking action on that education is huge. So,
so to get more specific, you said partnering up. So the last time we talked, like you said, it's been over a year. You guys can probably find that video if you search our YouTube page, but he was really in that stage of, hey man, I want to grow. And my advice was, hey, get outside of the Fort Smith market. Like, you got to get into higher growth markets. And how are you able to add value to partners? Like you said, the boots on the ground guys who may or may not need your services necessarily. How do you make your way into, to partner with them? Like, how do you show your value to those people who may or may not need you? I mean, I don't know how else to say that.
Yeah, I think it's, for one, it's finding out what you like doing and what you're good at. So, I like doing deals, but for me, I really liked getting investors involved in the multifamily. I liked helping them get the tax advantages out of their business. I liked talking to them about how much better returns real estate and multifamily real estate can provide than your average 401k, and talking to them about bonus depreciation and cost segregations and how they can offset their business income. So for me, it was, okay, all these things that I'm talking about, I want to focus on the capital raising piece. So for me, that made sense. If I'm going outside of my market, I want to find someone that's doing deals in those markets where they can find the deals, they can put the deals together. They hopefully have CapEx experience and have management experience. So for me, it was dialing in on the capital raising piece. So, going outside of this market, I could find someone that's doing a lot of deals, that's doing big deals, that could use some more equity to bring into the deal. So, now I'm bringing my own money and my investors' money. Unselfishly, I'm trying to bring in my investors' deals because it's a full circle business. If you treat someone well, they're going to treat you well too. So, tides lift, what's the saying? High tides lift all boats, or something like that. But so when we're all coming together, we can really help each other. So for me, that was placing capital and finding partners that were doing deals and managing those deals.
Yeah, so it sounds so simple, We watch a lot of podcasts, and believe it or not, me and Brian knew each other 2 years prior to us ever really communicating and trying to do a deal together through a multifamily education group.
Yeah.
So one thing that I know is that you have to add significant value to somebody to get into the type of deals that you're talking about. You're bringing your entire company, Wagers Capital. You're not just bringing equity, you're bringing Wagers Capital with you. This is what we have to offer. Do you want to partner with us on this deal that you already have structured? So if you had to guess, what's the average amount of capital that Wagers Capital is bringing to some of these larger deals? What percentage of capital are you bringing to some of those larger deals?
I would say, we're bringing $1 million to minimum to each deal. That's if we're doing like a couple of deals in a month, maybe it's I've raised I think my first deal I raised $525,000. I told him I would raise $500,000. I raised like $525,000. Yeah. Second deal I said I was going to raise $1 million, and we ended up bringing in $1.2 million. So now the sweet spot for me is $1 million, and then we go back to that what's next question. It's I'm trying to get to the average of $2 million for every deal. So I think that's where it just keeps on growing up.
Yeah. So the focus has changed so much. Like a year and a half ago, you're like, I want to do as many deals that I control 100%. I want to be majority of the GP. Like you wanted to be majority of the general partnership. You wanted to continue to have Wagers Capital in the forefront. But you've also grown into a space where, hey, look, in order for me to do that, I have to add value to people who are already where I want to be. And you're bringing $1 million to $2 million. So it's a lot of people. I asked you all those questions to get to the point where you could say, hey man, I'm bringing $1 million to every deal. What makes you guys think that you can just hit up Brian and say, hey, look, I want to partner with you on a deal. Let's partner. No, you got to bring significant equity in order to take part in this business. It's a business that can make you a lot of money, make you a lot of wealth. But you have to participate. Like you have to bring something to the table outside of just some experience. It's got to be capital. It's got to be, like you said, CapEx experience, management experience, et cetera. So, yeah. What's next?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. I was 20% to 30% equity on the deals, but now I'm 5%, around the 5% mark. But 20 to 30% of a 72 unit deal versus 5% of a 446 unit deal.
You'll take all day.
That's a lot different picture. And I'm doing a service to my investors by not just saying, oh, I don't have any deals right now. I'm serving my investors by saying, okay, I've got this deal. I would rather be giving my investors good deals to place their money in versus just not doing a deal just because I don't get the type of equity I want. And I think that just builds long-term relationships and I'm getting into different markets. I'm doing more deals, getting more experience working with these different groups. So it just comes full circle.
Yeah. So basically what I'm seeing in the next probably 24 months, I can foresee you probably being 10,000 units strong. And the reason I say that is because you're now not just a syndicator. Like you're a capital raiser.
Yeah.
And that can go so many places. Once people find out, hey, Wagers Capital can get me $1 million of equity towards my project, a lot of different people may just start reaching out. And I can easily see you being at 10,000 units within the next 24 months. So what do you see your next 12 to 24 months going?
I agree. I mean, so since November, it's been 6 months or so, and we've done over 800 units. So I mean, I think we can continue that trajectory, and we're just getting started. So that was just the beginning. That was just starting those relationships. And before, when I was doing these deals locally, I was really focused on just doing a deal, talking to you, talking to property managers, talking to the local banks, talking to the insurance agents. Now I know what that piece looks like. So I know what for my partners to look like, for what them to look at. But now I'm just focused on talking to investors and talking to the people that are putting those deals together to see what our underwriting looks like, and showing that underwriting and projections to my investors. So it's just, you take that whole one thing and you're pinpointing it even more one thing, where it's not just multifamily, it's capital raising for multifamily. So I think you start broad and then you narrow it. People may have different avenues on that. Maybe they start narrow and go broad, but for what I'm seeing in my future is that really focus on serving investors and placing their capital into multifamily real estate.
Cool. You're a beast, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. Like, I think we're both young. We have that sense of urgency, and I think we like doing deals, one, because we're good at it, and it's good when you can cross the finish line. You do get a sense of accomplishment for everybody involved, and especially when you do it the right way. I think it's a good feeling. So.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you at the top. I'll see you at the top. I think our journey is going to be so much different, but I think 5 to 10 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, man, we just started off doing this.
Yeah.
A few deals in Arkansas. So that's it for this video. GE Media, appreciate you guys for shooting this video.